to Mexico can be great. The weather, the people, the lifestyle, the cost of living, all can be very, very attractive. But moving your household goods to Mexico can be less than very attractive. The expense, the anxiety, the tension, all the things you have to do, you're worried that if you make a mistake, something terrible would happen. Did I mention the expense? All of this can be less than great. And I know how this feels from personal experience. About a year ago, Jet and I decided to make Mexico our home. And as Jet can tell you, a home is not a home unless you have your personal belongings with you, some of which you have taken a whole lifetime to accumulate and have very special meaning for you, especially as you're moving to a new place. But when Jet got the quote from the moving company, and with quite a bit of trepidation presented the quote to me, I was shocked. Not only by the cost, which was, I thought, incredibly high, but also by the difficulty and how everything just seemed to be so overwhelming. It was a big problem. In my mind, I thought there had to be a better way. So I set out to find that better way. I've got a lot of experience starting new companies in very different fields. So I figured it couldn't be too difficult to figure out a really good way to move Jet's treasured belongings to Mexico. And perhaps in the process, figure out a way to move other people's treasured belongings as well. Some way that would be better than the way that they're doing it now. I was wrong. It took me almost a full year. I talked with probably well over 100 experts on how things were currently being done so I could understand that. And then I worked with a select few to figure out perhaps how things could be done better. We completely deconstructed the moving to Mexico process. We kept the good parts, discarded the old, silly, or unnecessary parts, and then put in some new parts that maybe didn't even exist 10 years ago, all to create a better overall moving process. The result is a completely redesigned move to Mexico process that is simpler, easier, and much less expensive. When we got done, we found that the process was so much better that along with some investors, we formed a company around it, Best Mexico Movers. And we're using this brand new process right now, Jet and I, as we're filming this in this condo here in Arizona. And you're invited to come along. We're going to be, I guess you could call us human guinea pigs. So you'll see the entire process as it unfolds in real time in this less than incredibly well-produced video, but at least you'll get an idea about what it's really like using this process to move from over here in the United States to your brand new home in Mexico, and in the process bring along those treasured goods that you love so much. And here's our big moment. Here comes the truck. He's trying to give us some room on the other side. That's good. Okay, we're ready to go. So here's Joe putting the tarps on the bottom of the truck so that everything is nice and clean. So here we are in front of the storage unit where we've had our stuff waiting for us to pick up to take to Mexico. And quite frankly, we forgot about a lot of the stuff that we had. But I will tell you, as I'm looking and as I'm seeing some of the stuff that we put in here, I'm really glad we kept it because I thought that we had given it away. I thought that we had sold it. And there's a lot of really useful things in here that we could never have thought of that would be useful when we first put it here because we just didn't know. But my goodness, I'm really glad that they're here. Now, Jet Métier is acting as a personal moving assistant. When you move with Best Mexico Movers, we're going to have either you'll have the lovely Jet Métier or you'll have the not so lovely me or somebody else from our company will physically come out, and what she's doing at this little table here is she's looking into each box, making certain that everything is packed properly, making certain that what's on the outside of the box is what's listed on the inventory, and making an inventory for the insurance and for the menaje, which is both extremely important that they're accurate. So if there's any damage, she'll note that as well for the insurance company. And if there's anything that should not go on a menaje, we will take them out and make sure that they don't go. Right, Jet?
Yes.
Good job, Jet.
And
Yes.
we started two sections. One part of the things. Oh, it's a surprise. This is Lily Pulitzer that I had on my desk, and I had no idea it made it. Oh, wondering and waiting and dreaming for 2 years.
Joe is doing an awesome job here. He's taking extremely good care of everything. He's wrapped this, I think this is maybe the second or third level that he's wrapped, and this is a very, well, I shouldn't say expensive, but a very, well, let's say expensive, an item that we really want to keep from being damaged, and he's taking extremely good care of it. We're very happy. He's extremely detailed and very careful. And you can't be too careful with your own stuff.
And what can happen in Mexico is they have a lot of speed bumps, and they're called topes. And you will go through stretches of road where you are bouncing up and down. So you can imagine the truck taking your things and shaking it like it's hot. Oh no, let's drop it like it's hot. Shaking it like a wild martini. So even though you think, oh yeah, it's oak, it's fine. But if you're worried about things rattling and becoming dismembered,
or even rubbing against the friction.
Yeah, friction. Yeah, make sure it's wrapped very well.
Can't be too careful. We have plastic wrap and furniture blankets and plastic wrap again. This one may actually have 3 different levels. The idea is to make sure that when your furniture gets to you, it's completely pristine, just like when it left. So here it comes. This guy has got unbelievable skill. Doesn't seem to have any problems whatsoever smoking a cigarette at the same time he's driving with one hand. Incredible talent. Okay, so Felipe, what's going on right here?
They gotta break this lock this is to make sure nobody's been in there since they loaded it.
Excellent. Okay. Adelante, señor.
You can go around the house?
Oh yeah, right over there in the patio. Make a
Now that it's over, Jet, let's take our viewers through sort of the whole moving process.
Okay.
So, tell us, how did you feel when you first got the quotes and sort of understood the process from the first movers when we came here?
Well, I was kind of shocked. It was really a lot of money, and even though everything was quite precious to me, I don't know if I could justify it. So I just sent the quote to my husband without a comment. And surely enough, he called me to his office and he said, along the lines of, are you crazy? And so I said nothing. There was nothing that I could to defend that price. And let me tell you, I was expecting a really high price, but I wasn't expecting as high a price as it was. So it was really out of the question.
When you said the question, what do you mean? What would have happened?
I think I just said goodbye to all my beloved things. They had been waiting in our storage unit for us. When my husband and I made the decision to move abroad, he graciously said, well, let's put your things, because they were mostly my things, in a storage unit. And it was 30 feet, and we had to do a lot of culling, and that was very painful. But I was happy that we did that, and there was I had no idea when I would be reunited with them. But every day I thought, well, maybe this will be the day, because it took my husband nearly a year to go through the process of understanding the moving business and understanding how he can make it more efficient, and making it more efficient would also make it more cost effective. And most importantly, he wanted to make it so that it was an agreeable process, because I had heard tales from other people and they went through a lot of it was a lot of hardship and heartache. I mean, even for myself it would have been hardship, because one of the plans was they would just leave a truck in front of our door at the storage unit, and the price didn't include anybody helping me or doing anything for the inventory, or certainly not making me understand the process so that I knew exactly what to do. I read everything that was online. We talked to all the various companies, and we came away even more confused. And when we came to Mexico, the weather is so much better than southern Arizona. So I really wanted to be reunited with my beautiful patio ware, that nice thick cushions. So the biggest problem was to say, what was necessary and what we could leave, what we could replace, and what was absolutely valuable. So I think that anybody who goes through this process has to know that you know what, you can pretty much bring anything you want. We were able to fit a lot of things that were important to us. So anybody who goes through this process, you don't have to be bereft that you'll be separated from the things that you've been collecting all your life and that are meaningful to you. As we got quotes in different amounts. And it started up high and got even higher. So that was moments where we just thought, well, maybe we should be monkish and not have anything and start anew and live a more ascetic life. But thankfully, we didn't have to do that because of what my husband did, which was just understand the whole system. And the friends that I had, they gave away mattresses, and now they're living in Mexico, and I was using camping foam. Our rental here came with camping foam, a hard wooden platform and camping foam. A lot of people, their furniture is not what they're comfortable. People are older here. You want lazy boy loungers. You don't want, you don't want these equipolly chairs that have no reclining ability, and there's no way that you can put your feet underneath. And so choices, we're Americans, we're used to choices. Things we would love to bring back from what we had in our homes or stored in our case in our storage unit. So a lot of people were very disappointed that they didn't get to keep their comfortable furniture. So we really didn't have to make those hard choices. We were able to bring our comfortable furniture. So I was very happy about that. I got to keep my comfortable furniture.
Speaking of being happy, how'd you feel about having your goods in the same trailer the whole time and not having to?
Yeah, that's the other important issue. A lot of people were, as one friend of mine said, she was just tired of the fight. Her goods were transported because going across the border is not an easy process. And in order to do that, a lot of companies say, okay, we'll take your things from your home, and then we'll warehouse it on the American side, and then we'll drayage it over to the Mexican side where it'll be combined with other people's goods until a company here in Mexico has enough to make a run down to where they live. And then, so your stuff is combined. So when you just have one truck, you eliminate that. There is no merging, there is no, there's no, not eliminating, there's no disappearance. Everything's all together and everything stays together. That was so important to me. And when my husband was researching this, I said, you've got to find companies that'll go from where people live in the United States and Canada to where they are. It's none of this commingling stuff.
So now that you've experienced it yourself, of course, we were acting as our own personal moving assistants.
Yeah.
So comparing the process you thought you would have to go through with the other movers and what you did go through, how would you compare the two processes?
Well, I can only have imagined or taken other people's reportage, but ours was much simpler because we knew that, once again, everything that went in our bodega was put in one truck, and that truck made it over across the Arizona border into Texas, and we kind of followed it there, and then it was taken through customs, and when it came here to our house, it still had the customs sticker. So we really liked that there was no snooping around, tampering. There was no, oh, that looks like too much in this truck. Let's leave it and put it in the next truck. So that was really good for us. Moving, all that stuff, getting resettled in a new house is very, very complicated. But this part of the process, getting a good company and being able to know exactly where we were step by step was made me feel very secure. And believe me, I'm not the kind of person that likes challenges. I didn't want this kind of challenge. I wanted it to be as easy as possible, and it was.
And the last question.
Yeah.
How do you feel now that you have all your treasured belongings with you?
I feel great. Look at our other patio furniture. It's been raining here. It's beautiful. We get to use our house fully. Baby girl, come here, honey. We're a joyous, rambunctious family. We have, Mommy has all her books and magazines. She has, which was important to me, her cookware, her mementos from our college days. We have all those little things that make a house a home. You know, as long as we're, I always think as long as we're all together, we're happy. But now, now that we have our creature comforts and all those things that have sentimental value, we're even more content.
Thank you, Jet. With her stuff.
Yeah!
Reunited again.
Yeah.